Okay. So last week, what did I talk about last week? What did I explain? Oh yeah, I explained the position of adverbs. Last week, it was not last week, it was on Tuesday this week. On Tuesday, I explained to you, I gave you some explanations and I gave you some examples concerning initial position of adverbs. I also explained to you and gave you some examples concerning mid position of adverbs. And I also, if my memory serves me right, explained to you and gave you some examples about end position of adverbs. Today, I'm not going to explain about initial, mid, or end position of adverbs. Today, I'm going to talk about variable position of adverbs. Variable position of adverbs. That's the rest of the explanation for today. Let's talk about time adverbs. Time adverbs. And place adverbs. Time adverbs and place adverbs. Let's have a look at this sentence, this example. She came here yesterday. She came here yesterday. This is a very simple sentence. Here, this would be the place or time? Place. This is a place adverb. Yesterday, this is a time adverb. Any other examples of place adverbs? There are so many. Here, there, everywhere. Here, there, everywhere, outside, and many others. This one wouldn't make sense in this example. Yeah, it would be she went there. Yeah. Other examples of time adverbs: yesterday, then, soon, early, and many others. All right. The natural or the most common position for these type of adverbs, as you can see here, is the end position. Yeah, that's the most natural position for them, at the end, after the verb. However, do they work at the beginning of the sentence? Could I move this one to the very beginning? Would that be correct? Here she came yesterday. Alright, let's focus on the first one. Here she came yesterday. Does it work, grammatically speaking? Does it sound good to you or not? Here she came. Rachel? For emphasis, yes, you can. You would need a comma though for in terms of writing, but yeah, you could say here she came yesterday. Or how about yesterday she came here? Does it work? Yes, it does. So they work. You can move them, you can place them in initial position. The only thing you need is a comma, and also bear in mind that if you move them into the initial position, it's more emphatic. Yeah? It becomes more emphatic.
Can you also change the order to do it more emphatic, like here came she?
That sounds very poetic for me.
Yeah,
You would need a with a poetic license. Yes,
No,
you could.
I saw that in one of the books of my kids.
Say the sentence again.
Here came she.
Here came she. It sounds dated to me. It sounds poetic. It sounds like the author gets the license to play with the language in order to achieve a higher impact on the reader.
Something poetic like out came the creature.
Yeah. Out came the creature. As a matter of fact, on Tuesday we were giving some similar examples of moving some adverbs into initial position, and some of them also required inversion. Do you remember for Tuesday?
Yeah,
So hardly ever does she visit me. So she hardly ever visits me. Can you move hardly ever? Yes, you can. Hardly ever, but then you need inversion. Hardly ever does she visit me. So there is flexibility, emphasis changes, also the register changes into something more poetic or formal. Yeah? You can play with the language, but this is the normal position. and this is the emphatic position. In this case, you wouldn't need an inversion, yeah, when you move them into initial position. So far, so good? Okay, focusing adverbs. Have a look at this. Focusing adverbs. Focusing adverbs come before the word they refer to. Come before the word they refer to. And now have a look at these two examples. Only Sarah talks to me. Only Sarah talks to me, or Sarah only talks to me. Alright, these two sentences are very, very similar. The only thing that changes is the position of this adverb. Yeah? Only Sarah talks to me, Sarah only talks to me. This is an adverb. More concretely, it's a focusing adverb. The only thing that I changed is the position of only. How does it affect the meaning of these two sentences? What is the difference in meaning between sentence 1 and sentence 2? Only Sarah talks to me, Sarah only talks to me?
Yeah, the first one means that Sarah was the only person who talked to me. The second one is Sarah only speak to she didn't speak to anyone else.
Do you agree with Shema? Yeah. Sarah only talks to me. There's only one person Sarah talks to, and that is me. Only Sarah talks to me. There were many people there, but it was only Sarah, the only person who actually talked to me. So, how can we define this? When we place a focusing adverb, such as only, it normally comes before the word they refer to. Here, only is referring to Sarah. It comes before Sarah. Here, only is referring to the verb to talk. So it comes before talk. That's another way to explain it. Yeah? Alright. Yeah, focusing adverbs. Other examples of focusing adverbs apart from only. You could say mainly, simply. Yeah, other examples. Mainly, simply, even. Yeah? Mainly, simply, even, only. These are more examples of focusing adverbs. Remember that they affect the word after them. It comes after them. May I? Yeah, you could also say, even Sarah talks to me. Sarah even talks to me. Then, again, the meaning would also change. Yeah? Okay, next. Have a look at these particular adverbs. The adverbial phrase in particular, the adverb particularly, and the adverb especially. Is, yeah, starting with an E, especially. Okay, have a look at them. What is the natural position for them in a sentence? Let me give you a sentence. I like Korean food. Alright, what is the natural position for these two? Okay, I think these two work very similar together, especially particularly. What is the best position? Where would you place them? What would you say is the most natural position for these two? I particularly like, I especially like Korean food. So this is the most normal or natural position for these two adverbs. That is a middle position. Yeah, a middle position. Do they work in other positions at all? Okay, I've been discussing it with native speakers. They also work here. These two also work at the end. I like Korean food especially. They also work here, okay? But the most natural position for them is this one, mid position. So these two, mid position, that is the first choice, or sometimes they can also have a final position or end, yeah, position.
But if you use them at the end,
Yeah.
you need some sort of context. You are speaking
I
about
like Korean food, especially.
I
Yeah.
like that, but I like.
You could say
Yeah.
some previous context would be, I love Asian food, you know, and amongst Asian cuisine, I like Korean food especially, yeah, or I especially like Korean food, yeah. Here, some context would be talking about Asian food, yeah, for instance. Yeah, previous context is always necessary. Here, I'm just giving you sentences out of context. But yeah, I love Asian food, and I particularly like Korean food. All right, how about in particular? What is the best or the most common position for in particular? Could you say I in particular like Korean food? Does it sound good to you? No, it doesn't, right?
I like Korean food in particular.
I think that for me, my instinct, not only my instinct, but the instinct of my native English speakers, my friends who are native speakers, they told me, and I agree with them, that the most natural position for in particular is the final position. Okay? I like Korean food in particular. That is the most common. The mid position, no, it doesn't work at all with in particular, but it does work at the beginning. Again, obviously, some context is the normal thing. Normally, you would be reading a text or listening to somebody talking about Asian food, and then, in particular, comma, yeah, in particular, comma, I like Korean food. So to sum up, particularly, especially, mid position or final position, being the mid position the most normal or natural one. In particular, at the end or at the beginning, but not in mid position. So far so good? May I? Particularly, especially, in particular. All right, the grammatical explanation is, well, coming closer to an end. Just a few more things to tell you. Let's talk about the adverb really. Really. Let me give you a couple of sentences. I don't really like Korean food. I don't really like Korean food, and I really don't like Korean food. All right, again, these two sentences are very, very similar. The only thing that changes is the position of the adverb, really. I don't really like, I really don't like. What would you say the difference is? Does the meaning change? Would you say that there is a totally different meaning, absolutely different meaning? I don't really like Korean. I really don't like Korean food. Is it a matter of meaning? Is it a matter of register, or is it a matter of emphasis? I think it's got to do a little bit more with emphasis. Which one would you say is stronger than the other? The first one or the second one is stronger? They offer you some Korean food, and you hate Korean food.
But if you want to be polite, you need to use the first one.
Exactly. So I would say that when you place it here, yeah, I really don't like before, yeah, the negative auxiliary and before the main verb. This one is stronger, yeah, stronger. And here, this one is a little bit softer, yeah, softer and stronger. But the meaning is basically the same. You don't like it, yeah, you don't like it. What else could I say? In terms of translation, I love the art of translation. I don't normally use it in the classroom, but sometimes I think it's good. I don't really like Korean food. I really don't like Korean food. how would I translate this into Spanish? I really don't like Korean food. No me gusta nada, para nada. De verdad que no me gusta nada en absoluto. I don't really like. En realidad no me gusta mucho. Something like that, yeah? A little bit softer, yeah? And this one a little bit stronger. So have a look, yeah? Really, a variable position adverb. The slight change of emphasis that it can provoke into a sentence, right? So far so good? May I? Okay, next point is actually. Actually, have a look at these sentences. Actually, I saw her yesterday. I saw her yesterday, actually. Is the camera recording?
I hope so, yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
It is, okay, thank you. I actually saw her yesterday. Alright, two of these sentences have the same meaning, and one of them has a slightly different meaning. I'll give you 30 seconds to think about it. Use your instinct. Your instinct knows. Actually, what is actually doing here? Actually, what are you doing here? What are you actually doing here? Alright, so actually at the beginning, actually at the end. Notice the comma, yeah? And then actually in mid position. So which two of them and which one of them, how would you divide it? Two of them have the same meaning, one of them has a slightly different meaning. Very good. The first two would be a block, and the third one would be another block with a slightly different meaning. Okay, what is the meaning of actually, or what is the meaning of these sentences as compared to the third sentence? Rachel, I think you know.
I think that it's actually similar to the fact. So the fact, no? Something surprising now, no?
Exactly. Here, actually, in these two sentences, either in initial or end position, actually is signaling something surprising. Yeah? Something surprising or interesting. Yeah? Or interesting. Actually, I saw her yesterday. I saw her yesterday, actually. I'm telling you something interesting or surprising. Yeah? Actually, I saw her yesterday. I saw her yesterday, actually. Okay, here, actually, is signaling something different. What is it signaling when it is in mid position? Exactly. It is true. I actually saw her yesterday. It's signaling that something, yeah, something is true. Yeah? Something is true. Something really happened. Yeah? Something really happened. It really happened. It's true. I actually saw her yesterday. Okay? So that is the difference. Yeah? That is the difference that the position of actually can signal within a sentence. Yeah? Initial, final position, something surprising. Mid position, something is true. Something really, really happened. For real. Believe me. I actually saw her. So far so good? 5 more minutes. It will be over. Okay. Next. Adverbs of manner. Adverbs of manner. Normally, yeah. Normally, they come after the verb or the phrase. After a verb or the phrase. but they can also appear in other positions. Sometimes they can also appear in initial position with a comma, and the effect is emphasis. Let me give you an example. He listened to me. She listened to me. He listened to me. He listened to me. He listened to me. Let's add an adverb of manner. How? Okay, he listened to me. In what manner? How did he listen to you? He listened to me carefully. That is the most common alternative of an adverb of manner. Carefully. He listened to me carefully. He listened to me attentively, to give you another option. Attentively. He listened to me confidently. Confidently. These are examples of adverbs of manner. Yeah? Carefully, attentively, confidently. Again, normally after the VP. He listened to me. Listen is the verb. You could say listen to me could be the whole unit, so they come after it. However, is it possible to place them in an initial position? Yes, it is. You could say, again, it sounds more emphatic and probably more poetic, yeah? Carefully, he listened to me. Attentively, he listened to me. Confidently, comma, he listened to me. You can do that, and the effect that it brings is emphasis. Don't forget the comma. Emphasis on the manner. Yeah? Emphasis on the manner. Yeah? Emphasis on the manner. So far so good? May I? Alright, just a few more things to tell you. Order of adverb combinations. Adverb combinations. Order. Okay. A typical order is manner, place, time. Manner, place, time. Example. I listened patiently in class yesterday. I listened patiently. I listened patiently in class yesterday. Just an example. What can you see here in this sentence? Patiently comes first. That is the manner. In class comes second. That is the place. Yesterday comes third. This is time. This is the typical order of an adverb combination concerning manner, place, and time together. When you have manner, place, and time together in a sentence, this is the normal order. However, is it always like this? Is it fixed like mathematics? No, it isn't. The English language is flexible and it's alive. So you can play with it in order to obtain a different effect on the reader or the listener. But normally, this is the natural, everyday order. May I? Okay, another pattern. These are patterns, okay, not fixed rules. Another pattern is that when you're talking about place, yeah, you should first state the direction, and then after the direction, the location. Direction and then location. Example, she came to my place in South London. She came to my place in South London. London. Again, here, this is the verb, and then after the verb, what is the direction of that verb? To my place. Direction comes first. In South London, what is South London? Location. This is quite obvious, but it's a pattern, yeah, that happens in the English language when we are referring to place. It comes out naturally, nonetheless, yeah? And I believe it's quite similar in Spanish. May I? Am I going too fast? Okay, another pattern, the last pattern, I promise. The pattern of time. When you are referring to time, normally you should go from more specific to less specific. Example, I'll see you at 10 a.m. In the morning. Again, at 10 a.m. comes first, it's more specific. In the morning comes second, it's less specific. This is actually something that comes out naturally. We don't even need to think about it. Your instinct will tell you, but these are the patterns that I want you to bear in mind for today. This is the end of today's grammatical explanation, which has taken 25 minutes.